Hey everyone, Josh here with Fresh Start Customs, and today I'm going to show you guys all of the tips and tricks and ins and outs features of WeCreate software here. We're going to go kind of quickly. If you need to pause or rewind at any point, or you have a question on something, let me know down in the comments below and I'll try and answer everything that I can. First up, when you first launch this, from downloading it from their website, and speaking of their website, it's wecreate.com/pages/software. You can download the latest one for 2025, which is 2.0.7 as of right now. You're going to be presented with this beginner's guide. You can go ahead and click next a few times, follow through the steps, log into your machine here. I'm not going to log in, and I won't have my machine turned on for this, so it'll be slightly different for you, but I'm going to explain all of that along the way. And then you can follow the rest of those to that little beginner's tutorial. I'm going to skip that for now and show you the actual software and everything that you probably here to see. First up, you have the actual the opening page here. They have a bunch of different files that you can download and use automatically as long as you're a premium member of their subscription software here. You can sign up for that if you want to. If you click materials, it'll show you the different materials for those projects. So let's say you wanted to do a paper project, you click on paper, it'll show you a whole bunch of different designs you can actually make, and you can scroll through. They have thousands of designs. With that said, this isn't going to be that important if you're going to be making your own designs or using other designs you purchased on Etsy. So we're going to click new project. This is going to be your first thing that you do here after connecting your laser. You can connect it now on this page by going to settings if you want to, but I prefer to click new project first and then set up your laser in the top right corner here. You'll click on this, plug in your WeCreate by USB. It should automatically connect. If it doesn't automatically connect, click add. It'll find it in the list here. Like I said, I don't have mine on, so it won't find mine, but you'll just click on it and then click add. After it's added, you can add Wi-Fi options. You can even search for it through an IP address if you need to, but I recommend just staying on USB because it seems like after every update, people will have issues and have to reconnect to Wi-Fi. With that said, let's say you have it connected through USB. You can go up to settings, find Wi-Fi. Once your machine is actually connected, it'll show more settings here, like your serial number, Wi-Fi settings, those types of things. Go ahead and change that, and you can connect to your Wi-Fi if you want it on Wi-Fi. With that said, when you have settings open, make sure you go ahead and change this to inches if you need it on inches versus millimeter. I know a lot of us are used to inches here. Also, make sure you have precise vector path selection turned on. This is super important. This makes selecting vector options a lot easier, especially if you have a bitmap mixed in. So I always recommend turning this on. You will need to restart the software for this to take effect, so just make sure you turn that on here. Everything else is optional on however you want it, so you can just do that as you need. When you have your machine on, you'll have all those different settings. Now that you have all your settings set up, the laser is connected. The two most important buttons are going to be on the right hand side here is your refresh and autofocus. So after you click refresh, your laser is going to take a picture of the actual bed there. So I'm going to drop in a photo of the bed since I don't have mine connected, so I can show you what it'll look like. So after it takes a picture, it'll refresh, and it'll look like this when you have your material inside your laser. This is just a sheet of wood inside my WeCreate Vista, and after you click refresh, this is exactly what it'll show up like. So now, once you have this on here, you can actually work on top of that image that's put on there. But since this is just a photo, it's not going to let me work on top of it. So for the rest of the video, pretend this is here. I'm going to delete that for now so we can work over this. So what you can do now is you can actually start creating your designs. On the left-hand side are all of your actual designing tools here. Keep in mind, WeCreate Make It is a free software, so it's very basic, very intermediate design stuff here. So you have like a line, creates a line, rectangle creates a rectangle, circle creates a circle, text creates text. An image is their image software here. You do need to be signed in. Like if I click it now, I'm not signed in. It'll make you sign in here. You can import these different outlines of like animals, for example. If I wanted that hummingbird, I'd click on it and it would import it just like these text here. The next thing is an AI image generator. You type in what you want. It'll output what you think that it thinks you want, and then you can engrave those photos using AI. So that's up to you if you want to do that. That is a kind of a cool feature that you can mess around with and get some cool results. The pen tool is just like the line tool, so you can kind of draw out your own style image here. So let's say we want that shape there. I haven't found a way to rotate or cause curves with that pen tool yet, but there may be a way. Import is your most important button here. By default, I know that you want to go up to File and you want to click Import or Save As. Don't do that. Just click Import right here whenever you want to import your own files or your own programs into this here. So for example, an SVG file that you bought off of Etsy or one that you created on Illustrator or Inkscape, click Import, find it on your computer, and click Open, and it'll open up into the program. That's the easiest way to open that correctly. Sometimes whenever you click File and then you import from there, it tries and looks for just images, not SVGs. So just keep that in mind. Extract image. I'm not really sure what extract image is. I've never used it before. I would assume that means that you can export an image after you have everything created, but I haven't really gotten that to work or messed with that too much. It might be a bitmap feature only. I haven't tried that. If you tried that, let us all know down in the comments below. That'd be great to know. Next up we have array. So array is, let's say you create another little square here. You have a couple different options. So you can create multiple images of that one item by clicking this first one, array creation. And that's going to create as many columns or rows that you need. And click confirm, and it made duplicates of it just like that. Super easy. They are all individual in this mode, so you can click on each one individually, move them around if you need to move them around, delete them, etc. So we're going to delete everything off of the screen for right now so I can show you the next one here. This next one is kind of weird. I don't really see too much of a benefit out of it, but when you have the array and then this one right here, you click on that, and it's going to give you the option of how many copies of this you want, and it's kind of in a circular pattern. I know you can't see it because it's behind there. You can rotate it, you can do whatever you want with this, but when you click OK, it basically creates these little geometric shapes here. I don't know why you'd want to do this, but if you'd want to do this, you can do this. There may be an option to create a circle array. I think that's what it's supposed to do, is go all the way around, but it kind of does it from the center point here. So I could be doing something wrong there, but that's what that does. Next up, we're going to create one more rectangle or square, and for the most important one is the material testing array. So when you click on that, it's going to automatically create a grid for your material testing array here. You can change the maximum power, the maximum speed. I usually use by default, but if you want to be more settings and more precise, you can create more columns or more rows, as many as you need. Let's say we wanted to go really in depth and make one that large. We can click confirm, and you now have a material test grid here. So what these do is these are actually ways to find settings on your different materials, and it'll look something like this right here when it's printed off. So the button that I clicked over here to the right is your actual settings for the material that's in your machine now. So that image I showed you with the wood earlier, that was just 3mm basswood that was in the machine. That was an image. So if that's what we have, these are our auto settings, and it's going to have this material test array for us automatically. But if you want to create your own, you can just click add, and then you can type in the name of your material, the thickness of the material, and then the settings for the line, fill, and cut, and then add a photo of it afterwards. Click save, and then you'll now have that saved in this list here under user defined material. But you'll have to print it off first. So that's, if you print this off on your material and you need to save it, you can save it like that. Super cool feature. In order to see this and auto select afterwards, you will need to have something that you have as a fill engrave. So let's just do another square here. We're going to click fill engrave right here on the right. And this is how you switch between like a line engrave, also known as a score, a fill engrave, also known as an engrave, or a cut. But on fill engrave, if you scroll down, you'll get the actual preset settings here. So if you click on this, you can actually go through those preset settings on this material test array, and you can select whatever settings you want. So let's say we want 200 speed by 100 power. We click on that, and as you noticed over here in the top right, the actual settings sliders automatically change to that settings. Now you can click off of it anywhere in the gray, and that gets rid of it. Now we can scroll back up, make sure our settings look great. They do look great, they match up. And then what you want to do is you want to hit autofocus before you print. So autofocus will retake an image of your laser bed after it has focused the actual height of your material, and then you can click start and you can actually start your material. After you click start though, there is a framing feature that will frame a square around where your image is going to land on your material on the laser. So I always recommend doing that so you can make sure your material is going to land within that square that it kind of marks on your board there. And then you can hit start and then hit start on your machine, and you've successfully printed off the material. Now with that said, we did skip over a few things up here really quick. We're going to go over that. So offset is going to create like an offset line, so a line around something. So right now there is the line around that. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so you can see this better. We're going to click confirm. And as you can see, it created this line on the outside of our engraving here. So now we have it where we can score it, or we can cut that line out and engrave the center. And you're good to go with that. That's what offset is. So for group here, I'm going to create a few copies of this here. So group is if you want two images to be grouped together. So we're going to click group, and then this way they move as one item whenever I click on it. If you don't want them to move as one item, you can just click ungroup, and now they move independently. Next up is if we have overlapping images here, we're going to go up to merge really quick and show you that. So this is where you can merge two images together to make one image. So this is now one image. They're not overlapping anymore. It's one total image. I'm going to undo that here. And then we're going to overlap them again and go back to that merge option, and you have subtract, and you have all these different options here. So subtract will subtract the one from the other, etc., etc. I think you get the point of that. Next up, we have the align tool that I'm going to talk about really quick. So let's say we have all three of these. They're not aligned. I think you get the point here. You can align this center horizontally or any way that you want. You can evenly distribute them like this. The align tool is super helpful in that situation. The one that I skipped over is Smart Fill. Smart Fill, I believe, is, let's say we have a pen and we have this long line here that we want to engrave on a pen, and you have a whole bunch of pens on your screen. So let me get rid of all of this. So imagine you have a bunch of pens in here, starting from the top all the way to the bottom, and we put it on the center of that pen. You can click Smart Fill, and it should automatically create copies of this and paste them on the pens that it detects. I believe that's how that works. I never personally use Smart Fill, but it should automatically paste them in the direction that the pens are and automatically fill those out if you're doing a bunch of the same item. So with that said, we have the split tool here. I honestly don't know what split does. I've never used it. If you guys know, let me know down in the comments below. Next up, we have the rotation tools here. So let's say we want to flip this. We can flip it with this button. We can flip it up and down with this button, or we can turn it on its side with this button here. Now we're going to talk about Bitmap engraving here. I'm adding this to the video because I forgot to add this originally. Basically, this is just an image that you take with like a camera and then you import it onto your canvas, versus a vector image, which is just a solid shape like this. With vector images, you get the line, the fill, engrave, and cut that I already showed you. But with Bitmap, you only get Bitmap engrave. And I'm going to show you a way that you can actually turn this into a vector image as well in just a second here within the software. But first up, let's go from left to right and show you all of the editing options here. You have Edit Image, which is where you can remove the background automatically by selecting this one, or you can click Erase and use an eraser and kind of erase the edges manually if you wanted to, just like that. You can make the eraser bigger or smaller. You have a crop feature, so let's say if we wanted to crop this out, and you can click Confirm, that'll crop out the edges. Here's a better example here. And then you have the undo and redo buttons up top. You have a zoom in and a zoom out. We're going to click Confirm and say that's good. Next up, you have image processing. This is like if you want to do photo engraving, you want to make it a little bit more pixelated, you can tweak all of the settings here. We're going to leave it on Restore Default, and we're going to click Confirm. And then for filters, this one's most important for inverting. So if you're going to be doing this on like a slate coaster, you'll want to invert that image like this. Otherwise, you can put it back to normal, or there's different features here that you can kind of go through and make it look like a comic book cover here. And you can kind of play with this settings, whatever you want to do with that. We're going to leave it the same. So with that said, you have the option to change different engraving modes too. So Jarvis mode is by default. It's kind of like a dot pixelated engraving versus a solid engraving like our vector over here on the left. Gray is kind of like a grayscaled engraving. That way if you have multiple different colors in there that are shaded different colors, you can choose grayscale. I'm not sure with the other ones, they do different effects, but you can kind of play with this and see what works best for you with your engraving. I always usually leave it on Jarvis. You can change the sharpness and the grayscale here. And then last but not least, we have Sketch, which turns this into a vector. So we're going to click Sketch. It went ahead and sketched out a line all the way around all the black areas that it could find. You can change the threshold, the smoothness, etc., and then click Confirm. You now have this vector right here that you can do a fill engrave, and this is now a vector. So you can do a score, you can do fill engrave and cut, just like our square over there, and that's essentially how you can turn an image into a vector engraving right away. Obviously, there are some things to be desired here. You can also remove this. I think this might actually be what that split feature is for. Yeah, you can split it up, but you would have to go through and manually delete all of these different individual selections here, and I just don't think that's going to be a feasible thing to do here. So in my opinion, split is still kind of useless to me unless you have a less complicated design than this whole thing here. But that's what the split feature is for that I missed earlier. But with all that said, hopefully I covered everything here. I've got a couple more things that I'm adding on the end that I forgot. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video so far. I think we covered every piece of software in here that I know of right off the bat as quickly as possible here. The other thing is down here, I did notice we didn't talk about this, but these are your different layers down here. So let's say you want one layer to be blue, you can click on that. One layer to be red, click on that. And then you have orange. You can actually change the operation here. So if you want the red layer to cut after the blue layer, or to engrave in this situation, you can move that down. So this is basically your order that is going to cut or engrave. So you can change those around as well. Other than that, if I missed anything, let me know down in the comments below. We also have these basic features too, is like the little hand, and that's to move your design around. You can use your mouse wheel to zoom in and out. And then this selection tool is to select items on the bed. And then you have this button here too, which is lasering flat material, cylindrical items, such as cups, those types of things. And then if you have the auto pass-through feeder, you have this option as well. So now I think I covered everything. If you guys have any questions, let me know down in the comments below, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.